So you've made the decision to purchase a home. All of your documentation is in hand. Your credit score is good. You've even saved enough for your down payment and closing costs, only to have your lender tell you that you don't have enough income to qualify. In this episode of the Home Show, we'll help you find income you may not have known that you could use so that you can make your home ownership goal a reality in 2023. So without further ado, let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Home Show where they teach generational wealth. They can get you good credit out the gate, real estate, no debate. They're here to help. They got attorneys, protect your family. They cover your needs. It's no cash, no cash, no cash. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the new Home Show.
Home show. What's up, young CEO? How you living today?
I am good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm well. I'm ready to get into this episode. I really believe this is going to help a lot of folks out. We're going to talk about some income sources that people may not have known that they have access to for the purpose of realizing their dream of home ownership.
The first income types that I'd like to address, we have commission, overtime, and bonuses. Being a W-2 employee or anybody who's had a job, I'm sure you guys are familiar with those three different income types. However, when it comes to mortgages and the loan process, we calculate those items differently. I'm gonna leave you with two basic requirements when you're looking at these income types to keep in the back of your mind. The first one, you want to have made sure that you've had that income for at least 2 years. And if you've had that income for at least 2 years, you want to make sure that the numbers are either staying the same or they're increasing. You don't want them to decline or the numbers to drop, because that may affect the amount of monies that we're able to use to help you qualify.
Excellent. Michaela, a big issue with a lot of employers nowadays is that they're outsourcing the function that used to be in-house to validate income, because we know you're receiving the income. We may even see it on your pay stubs, your documentation. So we got to have that third witness, which is a third party, to validate that information. And so back to your employer. That's why it's very important to get this stuff right up front, because your employer may be using a third party company that will not get granular for us. And if they won't do that, Michaela, we can't use the income. You know what I mean?
Yes, we cannot. There have been a couple of instances that I've run into myself. We request a VOE and it comes back just verifying our borrower's employment and giving the income, period. There's no breakdown. There's no, this is their regular pay, this is their overtime, this is their bonuses. And like you said, if we don't get that breakdown, we cannot use it, guys. So it's important we get that breakdown. It happens over 2 years so we can show stability, and you'll have a strong profile when applying for these loans.
And just a little bit more on that last point, everything must be validated, and then we're going to get a third disinterested party to validate that information. Why? Because someone has gamed the system in the past. It's not personally an attack against you, but it is what it is. And I'll say this, and I mean this respectfully, not talking down my nose at anybody, but Michaela, there's levels. There's levels to life, right? Unfortunately, you may have dealt with someone for whatever reason that does not understand how to properly calculate income, because there's so many nuances that one could possibly overlook and cause you heartache at the end of the day. So said all that to say this: once you have the mindset to move forward, or you're in the process of buying, I strongly advise and urge you to get with a lender that you know, like, and trust, that you're confident with. And if said lender comes back and you think the income is not accurate, this is where shopping is very important. Because you have all your ducks in a row, it's easy for you to go out and get a second opinion. What do you think about that?
No, that's very important. And like you said, I don't know about you, but I harp on documentation being the processor in this business. I'm the one reviewing the documentation, making sure we have everything we need. I package it together to present to the underwriter. So if you have your pay stubs, your W-2s, all the information that you need up front to get a pre-approval or for a lender to initially look over your documents, shopping is going to be so much easier. And I think as a borrower, if you could go to maybe 2 or 3 different lenders just to see some different loan estimates, it's not going to hurt you at all.
Not at all. So to wrap up the first topic, the last thing I want to get into with this is, let's say we have everything, right? We can validate the 2 prior years of you receiving bonus, overtime, and commission. We have good, clean pay stubs. We have an employer that has not only supplied the verification of employment, but itemized those different income sources over those 2 years. Here's what you have to know. Some of you may get a majority of your bonuses towards the end of the year. And although you may have received it for the last 5 years, there's really no guarantee that you're going to receive it going forward. And the pandemic is a perfect example. As of no fault of any of ours, boom, life happened. And so I say all that to say, guys, again, very important up front to get these documents over and understand what it is that you have as far as income is concerned, how it's derived. Because ultimately, the only thing that's guaranteed with W-2 income is if you're salaried or your base income. Everything else, we're going to take an average. And unfortunately, more times than not, we're going to take the worst case scenario opposed to the best case scenario. And I don't know about you, Michaela, but whenever it's dealing with me, I always want the best. I want the most. I want to pay the least. But from an underwriting standpoint, what are we trying to do when we're qualifying these folks with a loan as it pertains to income?
Pretty much qualify you, like you said, worst case scenario or
conservatively.
Right. Least money's out of pocket. If we don't have to go above and beyond or pull from this bucket, pull from that jar to try to get you in, we're not going to, because it provides a more stable profile. You're less risky, as we like to say in the mortgage business.
And you know what, Michaela, as we transition into the topic or chunk number 2, as you said, that was cute. I like when you said that. Too many times we get caught up emotionally, and I get it. It's an exciting time. It's to be applauded. It's to be cheered. But after the thrill is gone, you got to make that payment. And so what we like to do here is educate, not to be Debbie Downers, if you will, if you know what that term means, but we really want you to be successful. Ultimately, it's our fiduciary responsibility, honestly, to make sure that you can be successful as much as we can after the transaction.
Yeah.
So, sound good?
Sounds good. We hit it.
All right, we hit it. Let's move forward. Topic number 2, what do we want to deal with in topic number 2 as far as income, Michaela?
We're going to deal with alimony, or also known as spousal support, and child support.
Okay. Well, I'll let you start it off and then I'll jump in. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, for these 2 income types, you can use them as income because sometimes these are incomes that borrowers may have on the side that can help them qualify if they don't have as much income as they may need. So with alimony and child support, you need to have been receiving it for at least 6 months. And you want to receive it or be sure that you're going to be receiving it for 3 years after the closing date or 3 years in the future. And again, that just goes to, in the mortgage business, we like 2 and 3, 2 years and 3 years. If we can guarantee that you're going to get something or be close to guaranteed that you're going to get something within 2 to 3 years, then we view it as stable.
That's right. We're going to go back to and make the assumption as best as we can that you're good for 3. Back to alimony and child support, right? Glad you brought that up because there's also, for whatever reason, maybe intrepidation or a negative connotation with those 2 forms of income. For whatever reason, it's your money. You can use it, right? You're providing shelter for your child. Nothing for you to be ashamed of, and you do not have to use it. By law, as you know, Michaela, we can't ask these questions, but we're educating, right? Because we don't want to be discriminatory or sound like we are. So you all should know that alimony and child support are viable sources of income. But here's the key. Again, only if we can
Document it.
Speak to documentation, Michaela, from this context. What does it mean from us, from the lending standpoint, when we say documented? What does that mean to us?
That it can be sourced and seasoned, or in layman's terms, you have a paper trail. You can go somewhere and be like, I was given this amount of money on this day at this time.
Love it. You got some crumbs. That's what my wife tells me. Boy, I can tell you've been in the fridge, you got crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let me quit clowning. No, very important.
Yes.
But you can gross up these income types. They help sometimes go from a property that you may not really be in love with to one where you can get in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the percentage that we could gross up alimony and child support?
It's 25%.
25%. And the concept behind that is this, guys. Income that you don't have to pay taxes on, it goes further, right?
Yes.
And so these are little things that we can do with that type of income to help our clients realize their dream of home ownership. Michaela, life is about foundations. Everything that is going to last and last a long time, guess what it's got to be built on, young lady?
A strong foundation.
And with that, we got a quick message from the sponsor of the show. Are you tired of renting? Are you in need of more space? Are you ready to build a foundation for you and your family's legacy? Take the first step and schedule a home loan consultation today. We will discuss your home ownership goals and prepare a plan of action for you to start laying that foundation today. Back to the show. Let's just recap real quick. The first section, we talked about commission, overtime, and bonus. What did we just hit in section number 2?
We did alimony and child support.
Okay. So why don't you hit them with the last section of unknown income that they might not know that they could use to qualify?
So to start off with, you have Social Security, and then you have disability or life insurance payouts that you get monthly or yearly if you have big payouts, more towards the life insurance. But the same thing goes for these types of income. Since they're given to you or their taxes have already been paid on them, they can also be grossed up 25%. And the same rule applies. We want to be sure that you're going to get that amount of income 3 years into the future.
Gotcha. So let me tackle the first 2, Social Security and disability. Real simple, just like the prior 2 sources of income, we can gross those things up. Social Security really depends on your particular situation, because if you're still working and realizing some income in your retirement, depending on your tax rate and things of that nature, will determine how much can be grossed up. But it can ultimately, and that's something that your lender should be able to ferret out for you. But now when it comes to disability income, that's gratis, that's free. No taxes on that. So we could gross that thing up again based upon FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional. Each of those programs has their certain nuances. Again, we or your lender of choice can help you ferret those things out. Now, here's one, Michaela, that I haven't had in years, but I've had some clients that have realized insurance payouts. Okay. Yeah. All those guys late night chasing them trucks and stuff, talking about if you've been in an accident or what have you. But one client comes to mind. I won't mention their name because they might be watching, but we've done about 4 homes, and long story short, was involved in a lawsuit. And when I first met him, he provided proof of basically he's getting annuities, right? Every year he gets a lump sum of money. And it's like $250,000 at the time for 30 years. Okay. And so that's the income that they were living on, but it came in chunks. You follow what I'm saying? So that's income that we were able to use. And in fact, I was also able to gross it up. But you may be someone out there that has realized some type of settlement or something of that nature. You can too use that income to qualify. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now I know you're familiar with some of the investment like the 401k, people that retire and get a money manager or something of that nature. Talk to us about that if you don't mind.
When dealing with investment accounts or 401ks, sadly, we can't use the whole amount or all of the monies that are available to you, but we do take a decent percentage, which is 60% of the amount available to you, and we can use that as income, monthly income, for your qualification purposes as well.
Hopefully with this episode, we've shed some light on some additional income that you may not have known that you can use. We're going to give you the last words, and then I'll get us out of here, okay?
When it comes to wanting to buy a house or applying to buy a home, apply, because you never know. Everyone's circumstance and their situations are different, and you may think that you may not qualify to get a home loan, but there are nuances like this and other types of income sources, and there are other things that us or a lender of your choice may know to help you get in through that door. So apply. I know you're going to be a little anxious, but put your trust in the lender and the partners that you've chosen and just see what happens.
If you need help with finding a partner, we lend in all 50 states. If you need a great realtor, that's a service that we offer. Click that link in the description below. Schedule a consultation. Let's have a conversation to see what it is that you are looking to achieve. And then we could put that plan together, that plan of action for success. With that, our time is up, but we thank you for yours. Okay, as we always say, let's be good to one another. Let grace abound. And until the next time, peace. Y'all be blessed.